Well, I think we've had enough talk. It's time for the main event.
Shut up and sit down.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rant. And of course, I'm your host, Mr. Main Event himself, the often-imitated, never duplicated Superstar Tim Vicious. And we're going to go Raw this week. Was in Greensville, South Carolina. But before we do, we're going to switch gears and talk about last week via the SmackDown Rewind and the big highlights from last week's SmackDown. Show started out with Nick Aldis there in the ring, asking Cody Rhodes to come on out. Cody comes out, addresses the crowd, and then tells him who his next opponent will be for King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi. And drum roll, please. Wade, drum roll. Wade. God damn it, Wade. This is what I get for hiring non-union people to be producers. Anyways, Cody's next opponent is none other than Logan Paul. So, yeah. Listen, I'm not necessarily all up for the idea of it either. However, I thought about it, and while he's not necessarily who I would like to, the guy, you can't deny the talent the guy has. Not only that, also, you can't deny the marketing and the eyeballs that the guy constantly brings with him. Anywhere he goes, anything he does, whatever it is. It's a sad, unfortunate truth. So, yeah. It's like what I said before. Sometimes in business, you're going to make business deals with people that you may not necessarily want to. Or a certain spectrum, a certain level of your fans may not like, unfortunately. And for the online Twitter community, so to say, that's a very vocal minority. And I have yet to see one person pop up on my timeline at any point ever saying anything positive about Logan Paul other than talking about his ring work is good. So, yeah. So, it got announced. It's going to be official. They're going to do a contract signing this Friday coming up, but Cody said a few words. Logan said a few words. Cody said a few words to hype up the match. And then one thing in particular caught my eye about with this, and it was Cody looking at the U.S. title saying, that is all I would need to be a Grand Slam champion. So, champion versus champion. I'll see you in Saudi Arabia. So, I wouldn't necessarily mind Cody 2-belt. Just saying it could work. So, matchups we had a Queen of the Ring tournament match. We had Naomi versus Nia Jax. Don't you just hate it when family fight? No, not really. But, decent match. I liked it. Nia got the win, obviously. Because if you looked at the tournament bracket, you could almost tell who was going to win. Nia got the win, obviously. Then we had the King of the Ring tournament match. Baron Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes. Hayes wound up getting the win. Not much of a surprise there. And if you have not seen Carmelo Hayes' work, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, because I know NXT is, for lack of a better term, their farm league team. And not everyone watches the farm leagues. If you've not seen Carmelo's work in NXT, do yourself a favor. You owe it to yourself to look it up, because he has put on some stellar fucking matches. We also had Jade Cargill versus Piper Niven, which I thought was really decent. And probably one of the main things that I took away watching this was seeing Jade working and just thinking to myself, she's going to get a lot of repetition being in WWE. So by this time next year, she should be really, really good and comfortable. So we also had Bianca versus Candice LeRae, which I honestly did not mind. And I know some people are like, oh, don't tell me we're going to get Jade versus Bianca now. No, I don't think we're gonna. Not by a long shot. Do I think we're gonna? Eventually, but not now. And then we had Bianca wound up getting the win against Candice, but then we also had Tama Tonga having a match against Angelo Dawkins because Montez Ford was marked as injured, so he couldn't compete that night. Dawkins wound up taking his place, put on a hell of a match, really good show. Tama wound up getting the win 1-2-3. Also, it should be noted that Solo wound up confronting Paul Heyman earlier in the night and said to him, I spoke to the tribal chief. I spoke to Roman, and he said until he comes back, I'm in charge of the bloodline. So Solo is now the new head of the table until Roman returns. Okay. Then we had AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. And man, these two guys put on a hell of a match. I absolutely loved it. Randy wound up getting the win. And whoo, doggy. I loved it. Like I said, I loved it. So, honestly, I don't see Randy winning the King of the Ring, but I definitely see him working his way to the final, at the very least. So, with that said, let's get into this week's show. Raw, Greenville, South Carolina. It starts out with Drew McIntyre out there addressing CM Punk because he called out Punk. Punk wasn't there. He calls out Punk. Punk's not there. He leaves the arena. Punk shows up about 2 seconds later. He's out on the walkway. Punk's in the skybox. He goes to the skybox. Punk's in the ring. He goes and emphasizes on how he's dodging him. He's ducking him. And not only that, he's pulling the greatest trick ever. For a guy that doesn't do drugs, he looks like he's been in and out of rehab. So, yeah. That goes, and easy for me to say. Then we wind up hearing him starting to talk about on how he wanted his world title. Priest stole that title from him. Priest then came out. Was like, whoa, dude, let's just stop for a minute. You said before that if I was gonna cash in, I shouldn't announce my shot and call it where everyone can see. See, if I was a smart man, what I should have done was wait until after you won, after you got done beating Seth, and then challenge you for the title, so that way I'd have a chance. Funny how that works, huh? And then they went back and forth for a minute, blah, 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 blah. And then Priest's like, bro, listen, you want a shot? All you gotta do is just ask. It's yours. Alright? But don't forget, you wound up getting your ass kicked by a one-armed man. And I'm all paraphrasing this, but that part is never going to get let down about with Drew McIntyre getting his ass kicked by a one-armed man. So, now that we went over the opening segment, let's get into the first match of the night. Io Sky versus Shayna Baszler for a Queen of the Ring match. Queen of the Ring tournament match. Shayna, she sneaks Io right before the bell. And Shayna was pretty much leading the pace through the match. It was good. It was a good opener. I liked it. The match came to an end when Io wound up excuse me. It was when Io wound up building up a comeback and then wound up hitting the Meteora and then did a moonsault on the Shayna for the 1-2-3. Then we had Kofi versus Gunther for King of the Ring tournament match. And man, a lot of emotion going into this one because they showed the little hype video about Woods being injured so he can't go into the tournament to defend his King of the Ring title and all that. And then it just, wow, lot of emotions. But Kofi, he went ballistic on Gunther right at the start before the bell. Just go waffling him, beating the tar out, throwing punches, kicks, whatever he could, and then softening up his knee, wearing it down, beating it up, doing everything he could to chop down that great big redwood. But yeah, after that, after so long, it was not meant to be. Excuse me. Because Gunther wound up coming back, getting back in the game, and straight up murked him. He killed Kofi. It came to an end when Kofi, he went to go do a Trouble in Paradise. All Gunther did was whoop, move out the way, and then deck him, hit him with a powerbomb, 1-2, kick out, and then just rolled over seamlessly and locked in a Boston Crab until Kofi gave up. So, yeah. Next up, we have Bronson Reed versus Akira Tozawa, and this came to be because Chad Gable had an issue with Alpha Academy, blasted Maxine, telling her, pretty much acting like an angry Little League baseball coach dad, telling him that, or Gable telling her, Maxine, easy for me to say, she's basically she's nowhere near as talented as she should be. This, that, and the other kind of bullshit. Then we had Akira Tozawa. He trashed Tozawa saying, you do that goofy dance, you do this move and that look and all this. You're going to go against Bronson Reed and I'm not going to see one dance move out of you tonight. And then he went to Otis, it's like, my number one guy, right? Right. That's why tonight, excuse me, tonight, you're going to go against Sami Zayn because that'll help me out. You're going to soften him up for me. So we'll get to Otis and Sami in a bit. But first things first, Bronson Reed versus Akira, and Tozawa, he was leading right at the start, going from start right up until he did, ripping the shirt like Hulk Hogan and then going up to the top. And when he's doing that, you just hear Gable yelling, no, what are you doing? And then Bronson Reed gets out the way, hits him with a Death Valley driver, and then the tsunami! Boom. He's dead. Yeah. Next up, we had Queen of the Ring tournament match, Zoe Stark versus Lyra Valkyria. Whew. Ooh, doggy. Needed the heart pills a little. But nice start with Zoe leading, Lyra leading. again, easy for me to say. Zoe was leading the match up into the break. And then, Lyra, post-break, wound up pretty much having like a coming out party, showing up what she can do. And again, like I said, if you've not seen her work, you owe it to yourself to go and look it up. So please. Excuse me. It was a good match. I liked it. Lyra wound up getting the win when Zoe Stark, she wound up going for the Z360. Lyra, she came down, landed on her feet, and then hit her finish called the Nightwing. I believe Cole is what Cole said it is. But yeah. Then we had Sami Zayn with Otis, much like we talked about earlier. With Otis, excuse me, all sorts of out. And like just taking care of business-wise. Right up until Chad Gable starts getting on him about like, no, don't do that. Coming at him like that. And all I could think is, if you're a coach, shouldn't you be trying to encourage those you are coaching? I'm just saying. So, yeah. Sami wound up getting a win with a haluva kick, and then post-match there was a beatdown. There was a belittling. Gable wound up pretty much belittled Otis. Otis just had this I'm not sad, I'm just disappointed look on his face. Which, ooh, you made my big man cry. I don't like it when you make my big man cry. So yeah. Then we had women's match. We had Dakota Kai, going against Becky Lynch. Nice pace and flow. I thought it was decent. It came to an end with a DQ though, when Damage Control went to run interference. Becky wound up getting saved by Lyra, who then, as they're both staring off at the entranceway where Damage Control is, Liv Morgan shows up out of nowhere, grabs Becky and wham! Throws her into a ring post and then gets the hell out of Dodge. So, yeah. Excuse me. Allergies. So, then we had a fatal four-way tag match to determine the next number one contenders for Miz and R-Truth's tag titles. We had JD McDonough and Finn Balor, the New Catch Republic, the Creed Brothers, and Authors of Pain. So, yeah. Whew. This was car crash mayhem. This was some serious car crash mayhem right here. It was good, but man, once you make any kind of a match, whether it's a tag match or a fatal four-way, anything that has more than just that has one person or two people for a tag match, and you add more to it, it's just an automatic that it's gonna go. You're gonna get car crash mayhem. It was good. I liked it. JD and Finn wound up getting a win when Carlito, who struck up a conversation earlier in the night saying, listen, you don't have to want me in, but it wouldn't hurt to have a friend around. Just saying. But Carlito came in, did a backstabber onto Pete Dunne, and then got him in the ring. And then Finn wound up doing the coup de grace onto Dunne, and then pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. So your winners and new number one contenders for the Monday Night Raw tag titles, JD McDonough and Finn Balor. So now we come to main event of the night. Jey Uso versus Ilya Dragunov, the mad fucking Russian. And if there was just one word to describe this match, intense. It was fucking intense. And you know why? Because Dragunov, he's got the... I think the right way to say this. He's got an almost Randy Savage-like level of intensity to him. And he's got such a sense of realism. When he talks about on how he can endure all sorts of pain, you can't help but just look at him and think, no, that dude's not joking, he really can. Yeah. I'm just saying, if I was going to see him in an alley and I had a shotgun on me, I'd probably just look at him and be like, here, let me just put this down for you. Thank you and have a good evening, sir. Because I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been able to pull a trigger on him. But it was a good match. I liked it. Really good, intense energy. Ilya, he was... excuse me. Ilya wound up leading the pace for it, but it was a good match. And Jey Uso wound up getting the win when he went and did a spear. Good God Almighty, I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry, folks. He did a spear and then an Uso splash onto Ilya for the 1-2-3. Afterwards, the show ended with Jey and Gunther staring down at each other because that is Jey's next obstacle if he wants to become King Yi. So, with that said, that is it for this week's show, folks. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back watch some of the other episodes when you can. If you're listening to this on Spotify, leave a review. Subscribe to the show. Let me know what you liked and did not like in the Q&A survey box. You know, I got nothing to hide. I have no problems dealing with criticism. So if you don't like that I covered something or wish I covered something a little more in detail, you bring it up and I'll work with you as best I can. So, yeah, with that said, I'd like to thank LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship for being a contributor to the show. There are a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a lot of attractive women. We're in a little bit of nothing. Also, don't forget to check out whatamaneuver.net for some Vicious Rants apparel. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see I got the Vicious Rants tank. We also have t-shirts, long sleeve, women's tees, toddler tees, and baby onesies. And folks, do not forget to follow these cool-ass cats right on the Twitter. DSB_IV, main-event_net, the Main Event Wrestling Network Twitter account, Sergeant Curry Pants, 3 Count Thursday, and D-Dry 1986. And folks, like I always tell you, you love me great, you hate me. Well, fuck you.